Okay, so let's take a stab at another one of these ones. Let's try the little dog here in the rectangle. Okay, so starting off here, I'm going to lock my sea turtle layer and make a new one. Rename it Dog Logo. There we go. Okay, so just looking at this one already, my kind of plan of action is to work from background to foreground. I think I will work mostly in shapes, maybe add a few strokes in around at the end. As I look at the bones, I'm only really going to need to make one bone, then I can copy and paste them. And everything's going to finish with the clippy mask inside of a rectangle, okay? Alright, so let's just start here. I want to get a light blue square. I can move this over, and again use my eyedropper tool if I want to suck up that exact color. Okay, but it will probably need some adjusting, so I just want it to be a little bit lighter. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit Control Y. I'm just going to do some very simple shapes here for the dog, just tracing over this with my pen tool. Remember, if you want to go or make this a sharp angle, just click the previous anchor point that you just created, and now I have a sharp angle there. Okay. Control Y. So this dog shape is kind of a lightish yellow. It's basically a white dog, but we don't want to use pure white. There we go. Okay. Control Y. I'm going to copy and paste this shape just to have it over there in case I want to use it as a stroke later on. So I'll just do that and make it a darker color for the stroke. So I may or may not use this. I'll decide if I want to add a stroke around it later on. There's a little bit of a shadow on the dog too, so I'll go here and then do this to use my shape builder tool. Let's make this a little bit darker here. Select both the shapes, switch to shape builder tool, hold Option on Mac, Alt on Windows, and get rid of that little excess there. I'm going to make it, I don't want it to be too dramatic with a shadow, so I'm going to make it just a little bit lighter. There we go. That should probably be good. I will group these two together, select both shapes, right click and say group. Control Y again. We'll do one shape here for his patch. Control Y. Make this kind of a yellowish, orangish brown. There we go. Control Y again so I can see through. I'll just do a black ellipse, so letter L to switch to the ellipse tool. Draw that for the eye. Let's turn this brightness all the way down. Starting to come along here, this little guy. Looks like, let's try and put this stroke back around and see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks better with a stroke. What do you guys think? So as you're doing these, you can kind of decide. I'm sure yours will be a little bit different. I'm moving it, right now it's below this shape, so I want to move it up to the very top. There we go. Okay, right now it's a very solid line, so let's see what happens if I change it to a thick and thin line. That looks kind of interesting. Changing the width profile of those strokes is usually going to make it a little bit more visually interesting. Now let's put a big, nice shape here for his big black snout, nose. It's pretty good there, and we need shape for a smile too. Okay, so I want it to be the same color as the stroke out here, so I'm going to hit I and click right on that. Okay, but I want this stroke to taper off to a point, so I'm going to go up here, select the stroke, come up here where it says uniform, and add to one of these where it tapers off. That's tapering the wrong way. How do I switch that? There we go, that one should work. Okay, cool. Now we got his smile, everything on there. I'm just going to zoom out here. So the dog's pretty much done there. So I'm just going to move this aside, select all the dog shapes, right click and say group. So now that, look at this. So it has reorganized my layers down here. So now everything that's involved in the, I'm going to call this dog group, is right there. Okay. So now what I need to do, let's make a bone. So again, switch to my pen tool, just try and trace over these using straights and curves. So I will give you guys access to my Art 109 videos if you need to brush up just on any of the basics of the tools as well. Control Y. It's blue right now. So before I lose that, I want to change that to that light pink. Okay, it's on top of my dog though, as you can see. So here are my layers. I'm just going to drag that underneath. And we can just, let's see how a stroke looks on this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's try one of these again, go from thin to thick. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy and paste this a couple times and just reuse that. So again, I'm holding Option as I click and drag to just get more of those, and I will just come in and drag these, try and arrange them so they're close to those other ones. They do not need to be exactly the same. Oops, I don't need to copy and paste that. There we go. And if I wanted to, I could draw individual bones here, but for this purpose it doesn't really matter. And if you do have repeating elements in a design, it shouldn't matter too much. There, that's looking pretty good. Alright, so the main thing that we will need now to fit everything inside of a rectangle, Control Y, is a clipping mask. So I'll just switch to my rectangle tool, so letter M, or right here, draw a rectangle right there. So remember, for clipping masks, everything's going to then fit into this rectangle, and the top rectangle will disappear. So I'll select everything, right click and say Make Clipping Mask. There we go. Nice. Now that all fits in there. And if I decided I did want a border around it, I could do one more shape there and turn off the fill. And it might be a good idea to have that stroke be the same color as the stroke around the bones, so you have a little unity in the color decisions there. Cool, so that's the dog one. We'll try a few more of these later. Hopefully these are coming along okay for you guys, but again, these are the general skills we'll need throughout the class. So if anything's tough in here, just kind of practice it multiple times, follow along with the videos. If you can't figure it out, go ahead and send me a message. I'll see if I can answer it during the next class, or over email as well. All right.